Well, it's 5 p.m. and this is Monday. And hi, Simon.
Hello.
Hello?
Hello.
Yeah. Hello. Yeah, Simon Staffler. Hi, people. Simon Staffler, Jewels of Piedmont. And we start. Simon,
Thank you
go
so much.
on,
Hello,
please.
hello, friends from Poland. Hello, Piotr. It's very nice to be back and doing this masterclass with you. This is called Jewels of Piedmont. But to be honest, it should be called maybe Red Jewels of Piedmont because it's ruby red and it's dark red, what we are going to taste today in our wine glasses. We have 10 beautiful wines from the region of Piemonte, and I'm very happy to share them with you. And I don't know if you know, but it's not Nebbiolo, the most produced grape variety of Piemonte, but it's Barbera. We also have Barbera tonight for our tasting, but we have some many other super nice jewels from Piemonte. We can go to the first slide, please. And this is one of the, let's say, typical pictures that you get in the wintertime. Of course, it's still kind of cold in these days in northern Italy, because Piemonte, as you may know, is in northern Italy. And this is one beautiful picture of the Monviso, of the most beautiful and highest mountain in the Alps that surround Piemonte. We have a very, very not harsh climate, but it's not a Mediterranean climate. It's a climate that is influenced, of course, by these high mountains that you see on the either west side or on the north side of Piedmont, and you have the winds also from the south. You have a very hilly area, and you have a lot of grape cultivation in Piedmont. We can go on to the next slide. Yes, on this slide, you can say how Piemonte is made. It's kind of a triangle if you want. So you have in brown, you have the Alps, you have the mountains, you have them in the north, starting in the proximity of the Lago Maggiore. Also next to Switzerland, you have Piemonte crossing also the and facing to the Valle d'Aosta, which is one of the northernmost regions, smallest regions in Italy. Also good wines there. And you see them coming down on the west side, on the side to France. So we have a lot of neighbors actually there, and as you can see in the little Italian map over there on your upper left side, Piemonte is in northern Italy, and of course, on the south side, it's surrounded by Liguria, which is another very interesting region where you have very good white wines and also some fresh and crunchy red wines. And you have on the east side, you have Lombardia, which is called Lombardy in English, and also you have a lot of viticulture there, especially for Oltrepò Pavese, Franciacorta, and so on. But we're not talking about Lombardy today. We are talking about Piemonte. Piemonte, to be honest, is one of my favorite regions because I love to go there, not only for the wine, but also for the history, for the culture. I love the people there. I love the nature. And of course, what do I love most? The food, of course. I love the food. It's a very wonderful place for every person who loves gourmet kitchen, but not only. We have a lot of pasta dishes. We have beautiful cheeses. We have beautiful meat dishes. We have a great variety of things to eat, also influenced by the French kitchen of the Savoia, which used to occupy or be I mean, when Italy was, or Piemonte was part also of the Savoyan Empire, we have a lot of influences of the French kitchen. So if you have never been to Piemonte, I would like to tell you, please go to Piemonte. You will enjoy it. You have Torino. You can see it here also in the map. You can see it on the red pin. And if you go up until, let's say, 11 o'clock, you see Torino, which is the capital of Piemonte, of course. Torino is also known for football fans, for Juventus and Toro Rosso. If I am not into football, so I'm not interested, but maybe some of you are. We're going to taste the first wine, and this is where we are. This is Fratelli Abrigo. We are in Diano d'Alba. This is where the pin was set, and it's called Pietrin Diano d'Alba Superiore. You have to know we are a little bit in the southern part of Piemonte in Diano. And Diano is easy to remember because there is a grape variety which is strongly connected to Diano, which is Dolcetto. So Diano Dolcetto. Remember the double D. Dolcetto is probably was the everyday drinking wine in Piemonte all over because it has smooth tannins, a dark color. It is kind of rich. And we have Paola from Fratelli Abrigo over there, so she can tell us a little bit of her winery. Ciao, Paola.
Ciao, ciao, hello, dzień dobry.
Please tell us what we know about Fratelli Abrigo and your beautiful wine.
Yes, our Dolcetto Superiore Diano d'Alba is produced only in the best vintages. First of all, is a single cru, a single vineyard wine produced in the heart of Diano d'Alba in dry and hot vintages, and most of all from very old trees, from very old vineyards, which are the average age is about 70 years old.
Wow.
So they give a really superior result in terms of sugar and polyphenols. And we get this completely different style wine from our classical Diano d'Alba. It doesn't make any wood, just 9 months in steel tanks, and gets, first of all, a superior content, obviously, of alcohol, 15%. And it's completely different from the usual Dolcetto, can be aged for a long time. We opened the bottle together with a guest from Poland, by the way, about 1 month ago, and asked him to guess the age of the wine. And he was really surprised knowing that it was more than 20 years old, and the wine was still very good, very interesting.
Paola,
So I'm curious to know your opinion now.
Actually, I'm really surprised because, as you said, when I think Dolcetto, I think of a light-bodied red wine, which I enjoy drinking with the food, of course, but never solo. And I would also drink this wine solo. What I really like about this wine is that I have 15 degrees alcohol, but I am not feeling it because I have a wonderful acidity in my palate, and I have a lot of fruit, and I have a round and rich wine, but it's not heavy. So I think this is very nice to have in this Dolcetto. I really like to drink it. As you can see, I already finished the glass because I think it's really, really well made. The concentration of the grape, of the fruit is perfect. There is no oak inside, and a really, Paola, super wine.
Can be considered a sort of meditation wine as well. So I can imagine in front of the fire in a winter evening with a good book and a good glass of our Dolcetto Superiore.
Yes.
We have three comments coming. So if you see the chat, how often you determine the unique vintage?
We produce it, yes, I see the questions. We produce it not every year. For example, we didn't produce it in the last vintage because it was too cool and rainy. So we decided not to produce it. But usually we produce it several times in the last vintages when the summer was quite warm and dry. So it depends. It really depends on the vintage, on the year, on the weather. So it's difficult to answer this question. We hope to produce it again next year. I mean, this year in 2025. Superiore means a superior content in terms of alcohol. So I think it's the same for Italy. And
I think it's 30.5, right?
Yes, yes.
You can call a wine superiore when it has at least 13.5 alcohol.
Yes. So in this case, for example, our dolcetto, classical dolcetto, is 12 and a half or 13, depending again on the vintage. And Diano d'Alba Superiore is 15, usually 15.
And tell me the number of bottles, because I have here my notes, but I'm not quite sure it's whether it's correct or a mistake. How many bottles of this?
It also depends on the year, but last time it was about 5,000 bottles.
Okay, because here I have 2020, 1,340 bottles, but perhaps it's remaining.
We produce more. I think it was maybe I should check, but I think it's almost 5,000.
Almost 5,000, yes. Right? And the retail price in Italy, this is 22 euros.
Yes, it's right.
Something,
about 22.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice.
Okay.
Wow. Thank you so much.
You.
Other questions here? Superior, yeah, that's everything. Okay, great. And you're looking for distributor. You want to find a distributor in Poland, right?
Yes, that's
so, guys,
right.
Whoever likes this wine, you have a contact to Paola, or you can contact us or Simon and contact Paola afterwards, right?
Yes.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Somewhere funny. Okay, we can go on with the next wine. So this is the winery La Gironda. You see this wonderful winery there in the vineyards. It's in Piedmont and also in Lombardy. You call a winery when it's an old farmhouse. You call it cascina. So you have this wonderful cascina here of La Gironda. And it's wonderful because you have, if you look up on the hill, you have this wonderful little chapel over there. So very beautiful. It almost looks Mediterranean, even if we are not in a Mediterranean area. We can go on with the next picture with the map. So you see we are in Nizza Monferrato, drinking Nizza. And what the difference between a normal Barbera and Nizza is, it's Paolo going to tell us, hopefully. Because Nizza is also one of my most favorite cities in the world, in France, but it's also one of the most beautiful wines we produce in Italy, which is Nizza Barbera. So please, ciao Paolo, come stai? Tell us everything about your winery and what we should know about your wine.
Paolo, please turn on the micro.
Sorry, okay. Ciao everybody. I'm Paolo from La Gironda. La Gironda is a family winery, so we are in 5 people working all the time. Me, my father, and my mother, and 2 other employees that help us. Nizza is an area specialized on the Barbera grape. And in this specific area, we get the appellation Nizza DOCG. So there is a big difference between probably the more famous appellation for the Barbera, that is the Barbera d'Asti, and the Nizza DOCG. Barbera d'Asti we can produce in more than 160 villages, while Nizza DOCG we can produce only in 18 of them. So it's really the best area, the area where people saw that there is already a big difference in the quality of the grape when you see the grape that are growing, and also after when you produce the wine. For the Nizza DOCG, we have for sure to follow a little bit more strict rules to guarantee a higher quality. So for the Nizza, for the vineyard part of rules, we can say we can produce maximum 7 tons per hectare. So it's really small quantity per hectare, in fact. And this allows us to concentrate more inside the grape all the components, so the polyphenols, the sugar, the acidity, etc. And this gives us after wines that are always really complex, really interesting, and delicious when you drink it. Yes. For the classic Nizza appellation, it's minimum 18 months of aging, 6 of them in the oak. But we like to do in a little different way. So for our Nizza, Le Nicchie that you can taste now, we do 1 year of aging in the oak and 1 year of aging in the bottle, before we start to save. when you have the Nizza, you have a big difference when you taste it compared with the classic Barbera. So for sure, you still have the more fresh and fruity part typical of the Barbera, but it's a really, really tasty kind of fruit. So black plum, you have the berries, wild berries, strawberry. You have for sure the part given from the oak aging, and you start to have a little bit more of the complex kind of aroma. So you have a little bit of licorice, tobacco, a little bit of smoky also, and spices.
You know, Paolo, what I like, because probably our friends in Poland don't know, but Barbera is not a famous grape variety for having a high acidity, but having a rich fruit, and also comes very good in hot vintages because it expresses very good the fruit, and it's very how can I say, resistant to high degrees in the vineyard. But what I like about your Nizza is that you have this perfect acidity, which balances out the 15.5 alcohol. So you have a rich wine, you have a very fruity wine, and as you said, you have a very important wine. But on the other hand, you have a beautiful acidity that keeps the wine balanced. So what do you do? Do you harvest earlier, or how do you do it?
No, in general, and this is also specific for our area. So this is also the reason why we get the Nizza DSG, because in this area we can get a really nice balance and concentration in the grape. So you can get a grape that give you wines that are always really pleasant, really elegant, but really delicious and tasty. So you can get the perfect balance. For sure, it's always really important the time when you want to pick the grape, because we want to check that the acidity it's at the right quantity to be balanced with the sugar and the alcohol after of the wine. So this is always what we pay attention to.
Super. There is somebody asking, Yola asking, I hope I pronounced this right, Yola or Jola. What is the best food pairing for this one? What would you eat with this wine?
So for this wine, it's really good, as it's quite spicy in the taste. It's really good with the more stagionated cheeses, with the wild meat. So as if you have like deer, and you put a sauce, maybe like a jam sauce inside, it's really perfect pairing.
Super. I'm starting to getting hungry. Not bad. So Piotr, the man of the numbers, Piotr.
Numbers, yeah. Retail price in Italy, it's 24 euro, more or less.
Yes.
Right. And you produce 10,000 bottles of this specific wine,
Yes.
according to my notes, and you're searching distributor in Poland.
Exactly. So we are not yet distributed in Poland. So.
Okay. So, guys, Paolo, La Gironda, and Barbera. First, Barbera.
Thanks everybody.
Good.
Grazie Paolo. Ciao.
Ciao. Bye-bye.
So
and
we
now
stay.
Vitecolte.
Yes, we stay in the Barbera world. As you can see, Vitecolte is a little bit bigger winery. It's a cooperative, so it has a lot of people producing grapes and bringing it to the winery, where it is produced under different brands. One of these brands, the, let's say, best brand or highest recognized brand of the cooperative is Vitecolte. And I have to be very honest, we have one of the most iconic labels of Barbera here, which is, you will see it afterwards, La Luna e I Falò. This Barbera is, I would say, very famous because it has always excellent quality, and it's a Barbera d'Asti. You can see it here on the map. You can see that it is in Barolo, the winery, and now you would say, hey, why are they in Barolo and they are producing Barbera d'Asti? Well, because they have a lot of members. They have a lot of people producing wine and bringing it to the winery. They are doing white wines, red wines, Nebbiolo, Barbera, and many others. This wine is from Barbera d'Asti. So it comes from the Asti area, not even from Alba. Otherwise, you would have to call it Barbera d'Alba. But you are allowed to produce it. So we are in the southern part of Piedmont again. And if you go to the next slide, we see the label, and you have it also, of course, in your tasting, La Luna e Falò, which means the moon and the fireplace, which is kind of a romantic scenery. and maybe it is a perfect scenery to enjoy this wonderful Barbera. It is 100% Barbera. It has 10 days of maturation and malolactic fermentation, and it's done in a very, let's say, classic way, 12 months of French oak barrels. So let's go and have a look and a taste with me. If there's somebody from Vitecolte on my list, I have nobody, but maybe somebody that is there.
Oh, we can't see anyone.
Okay.
Can't see you. Yeah, but just let me give you the numbers during while you tasting. It's quite a big production. So this is quite a big cooperative. It's 300,000 and 50,000 bottles. 350,000 bottles. Yeah.
Exactly.
And the price is 18-20 euro. And how do you like it, guys? Huh?
I like
We
it.
don't know whether they are searching or not because they didn't fill out the form in this field, so we don't know.
I think they are. Otherwise, maybe they wouldn't have participated. But I don't know. I just assume. But anyhow, I like this Barbera because it's very well made. It has a bright color. It's clear, and you can smell it on the nose. It's very typical. You have this plum. You have this spicy notes. A little bit of pepper. A little bit of oak. A little bit of leather too. You have this little dark fruit, and you have a very high sapidity on the palate. You have a good acidity, and you have a small tannin structure, which gives the wine complexity. It has a good pressure on the mid palate, and it comes again. So I think personally, for 350,000 bottles produced, this is an excellent wine. So now I know why it is iconic. Somebody says, perfect, very complex, nice finish, like it, super. Yes, and you know, so this is I think it's a very good wine. Are there any questions furthermore for Vitecolte? Otherwise, since there is nobody in the video call, I would go on with the next winery where I know there is somebody.
There are some comments, just very complex, nice finish, like it. Also, yeah.
So we have this beautiful picture, very yellow, but I kind of like it. It maybe should represent that it can also get hot in Piemonte, not only cold in wintertime. But I think Andrea from Marenco will tell us more. We have this beautiful picture. Let's see where Marenco is situated on the map. Next slide, please. So we are in the area between Nizza Monferrato and Acquiterme and Canelli. And we are in the, let's say, eastern part of, or southeastern part of Piemonte. And we have this beautiful Barbera d'Asti, Ciresa. Andrea, are you with me? Are you with us? So we can go on to the next slide and call Andrea Costa.
Andrea, you just press the buttons, press the two buttons. Yeah, here, somewhere below our faces, the camera and micro.
Eccolo, super. Anche il microfono.
Oh. Hi.
Schiaccia anche il microfono. Eccolo.
Eccomi.
Ciao Andrea.
Ciao a tutti. Good afternoon. Thanks for the introduction. Yes.
Now the stage is yours.
Yes, so you pointed on the map where we are. So the winery is in Strevi, which is more recognized, of course, for its Moscato and Brachetto. But Nizza Monferrato is only 15 kilometers from us. So we've been making Barbera d'Asti since the 70s. Part in Fontanile and Castelboglione, where we make the Nizza. But this one, Ciresa, is a single vineyard that we love. It's our first single vineyard of Barbera called Ciresa. The vineyard of Ciresa is in Strevi. Strevi is part of Barbera d'Asti. It's more, as I said, it's more Moscato, but we can produce Barbera, and we love this Barbera vineyard. It's a sandy soil with the limestone, and quite south in the designation, and not too far from the Mediterranean Sea, so we get some influence from that. And it's quite old vines because the Cereza, the replanted was in the late 90s, so 1999. So we're talking about 25, 26 years old, which for Barbera is a heritage, because we know that Barbera is not easy to have older vines, but we're working for that. Yeah, that's the Cereza. It's the name of the vineyard. Of course, it means cherry in Italian. I would describe this wine more on the, let's say, lightness and verticality because of the terroir. But still, it's a Barbera, so we get a nice body, a nice structure.
I think it's very nice, this Barbera, because you have more red fruit than dark fruit, in my opinion. You can see it also on the lighter color that we have in the wine glass right now. And I think it's very elegant. It's a very elegant Barbera. 22 was kind of a hot vintage, right, in Piedmont also.
Thank you for the description. And yes, 22 was a vintage that we liked. It was hot and dry, but it was the first of the two, because because the 23 was as well hot and too dry. Consider that in Strevi, in our area, we got around about 200 millimeters of water compared to the 600 that we usually get in these later years. So for the first year, 2022, the vines reacted very well. Then 2023, I have to say, was a little bit tougher because it was too dry. But 22 in general, I liked it a lot. Even the stainless steel Barbera, I remember it very fruity, juicy. So it's a vintage that we really liked.
Super. There's Yola asking you, what oak barrels do you use?
Oh yeah, thank you for the question. I forgot. So in fermentation, we are quite classic. We do stainless steel, 26, 27 degrees, not too high in temperature. Then we do also the malolactic in steel. And then for aging, we use 5 hectoliters tonneau. We like small barrels for Barbera when we think of a wine that we want to age well in time, because a little bit of tannin from outside is not bad for Barbera. Barrique we tried, but was too small and a little bit too intense. With the tonneau, we have the right balance, in our opinion, for our vineyard. So we use tonneau both for our Barbera d'Asti Superiore and for our Nizza. For the Nizza, we have a little bit higher percentage of new oak. Here, it's more second and third year use.
Very nice. Do you consider your approach to plantings given climate change? Is Eva asking.
A new approach to plantings. Well, so far so good. I think Simon mentioned it before. Barbera is one of the grapes that actually fits the best with the new weather, because with the bright acidity, we get a very drinkable and a very elegant and juicy wine, even in a dry vintage. So with Barbera, we are fine. Moscato, we have a little bit more to think about, so because it's more sensible to heat. So we are, for example, protecting the clusters from the direct sun more. We leave the leaves. We don't remove the leaves anymore. But for Barbera, I would say, since we have no choice, Barbera is a very good variety to use.
There's Gregor asking, it goes well with duck. Do you agree? Let me answer. Yes, I agree absolutely.
Yeah, me too. I would like to taste the Polish recipe of duck, or any kind of duck, because I love it. And we don't, it's more a French dish. We don't get enough duck at least in Piedmont, in my opinion. So yes, exactly. And the ducks, maybe you. I think you asked the question because of the logo. The logo, our logo is 2 ducks. So
it's 2 goose, not ducks. Come on, it's 2 goose.
It's 2 wild geese. Yes, we got the inspiration. Actually, it was at my parents' restyling time in the 80s. Before we had the crown, but we realized we were not the king of anything beside the king of our vineyards. So we wanted something fresher and lighter, and that's where the ducks came for our logo. And now it still represents us very well. All the production is organic. We are really into sustainability. This wine is certified. It's written in the back label. We don't like to put it in the front label, but it is. And so yes, the duck is representing our job.
Well,
and we like to eat the duck as well with the ciliegia.
Okay, Andrea, please confirm. This is a very limited production. It's only 3,600 bottles of this specific wine. Is that
Yes,
correct?
exactly. Correct.
And the retail price is about 19 in Italy.
Yes.
19.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. That's correct.
Very well. Thank you. And you're looking for the distributor in Poland.
Yeah, there's going to be Vinitaly soon. So if anybody is at Vinitaly, we're going to be there.
Yeah.
I'm going to be also with our stand in hall number 10. So, Andrea, we're going to see us in the Piedmont hall.
Fantastic. Fantastic.
Very well. Okay. Thank you very much, Andrea. And guys, this is not only, thank you, Grzegorz, for this comment. You saved the male honor here, because this is, until now, this was only Jola and Eva. And now one it was Adam. So it's not only Jola and Eva here, it's also Grzegorz and some other guys. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Andrea.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
So we stay in the Barbera universe and we move on to another beautiful winery, still in the Monferrato area. It's Tenuta Tenaglia. We can see here a beautiful vineyard where the Barbera is coming from, probably. So we can show on the map where the winery is. Next slide. Perfect. We are a little bit more northern than we were before. So we are in the area of Moncalvo, next to Casale Monferrato. So we have this wonderful Barbera d'Asti Superiore Emozioni. Next slide, please. Here we are, and we have somebody from the winery, which is Yuri. And I think I hope I pronounce your surname right. Winkelhuisen.
Yes, do you hear me?
Yes, but we cannot see you.
Oh, yeah,
now
great.
We can see you.
Hi.
Now we can see you.
Hi,
Compliments for the beard.
Oh, thank you. It's gonna go out now. The summer is coming, and so yeah, it's just the winter style. Hello to everybody. I'm Yuri, and I'm working here at Tenuta Tenaglia. So first of all, cheers.
Yes.
And yeah, so what we are presenting here today is our Emozione. It's a Barbera d'Asti Superiore, and it comes from our best vineyards, basically. Of course, we are a very historic place. It's been making wine, and especially Barbera and Grignolino, mostly, for the last 400 years. And yeah, so this is let's say, when you have such a long history in wine producing, that's the biggest certification of quality. That means that the soil over there, the climate over there, just fits very good for wine producing. What we have here is a really, I would say, classical Barbera. What we have here is a very important, a very strong wine, a very deep wine, deep in taste and might. Of course, the acidity, being Barbera, it's kind of important. And all the structure that the Barbera has by itself really pairs very good with the aging in casks. What we use here is mostly we go for the barrique and we go for the first passage barriques. That's because Barbera by itself, it's a very strong wine. It doesn't, sometimes you have those wines that fear the contact with wood. That's definitely not the case of Barbera. Barbera really can have a very delicious wedding with wine and wood. And you can feel it. You have all the depths of the fruits there, the black fruits, all those dark feelings, those dark tastes from the fermentation, and they pair so good with the woody part. You have some chocolate, you have some licorice in it, and yeah. Furthermore, for the production of this wine, as I said before, we go with this wine the grapes come from the best vineyards that we have here in the Tenuta. And afterwards, we go, the harvest is one of the last ones we do. We just go for we want the grapes to stay a bit longer on the plant than what we do for just the stainless steel Barberas. And so we wait a little bit more because, of course, the acidity of Barbera, specifically in this area, is very, very important. So we wait a bit more. And then we go with the classical fermentation in steel. What we do is that we play a lot with the temperatures. We really take care of having lower temperatures of fermentation in the beginning. Then we let the yeast go a bit free for a couple of days, and then we grab them again to start again in lower. So let's say we have this kind of bow in the fermentation temperatures. This is very important to us because it really allows the yeast to bring as many different varieties of flavors in the wine. And of course, when you have this richness and then you go with the wood, that's the thing. After fermentation and the malolactic fermentation, then it goes for 12 months in barrels, basically barriques, mostly, I would say 80%, 85% barriques, and the rest in tonneaus. And then it goes, of course, for the aging in bottle, at least 18 months.
You're presenting the Barbera Superiore here in 2019. Is that the actual vintage on the market, or did you choose to bring an aged wine?
No, that's the one we have on the market right now. That's why
I think it was vintage too, if I remember correctly. There's some questions from Yola. What is the aging potential of this great wine? What would you say, Yuri?
Well, it's always hard to say. But we just tasted something from 2008, and it was still very good. So it's really hard to tell you how long can it last. But at least, yeah, I know that for 15 years, it's great. Afterwards, I wouldn't know.
Okay, we can find out. Nice. Do you use any natural yeasts or white yeasts?
No, not yet, actually. It's kind of my secret project, actually, but not right now. So we're going with I don't know the name, the regular yeast. But what we do, of course, is that we go with we buy some yeasts and we use them just for the first vat that we make, and afterwards we just use the same wine from one vat to all the other ones. Of course, talking about just the reds.
Super. Okay. There's Gregor saying, pink saddle of Vention. This is our guess. Gourmet, huh? Not bad.
I wouldn't know what it means. Pink saddle of... No, I'm so sorry. I don't understand it.
I think it's a dish, no? It's a Kalbsrücken in German, I think so, but I'm not sure. What do you say, Piotr?
Well, I don't see the Gregor's before the pink saddle of venison. Yeah, the part. I think the back part of the
lower part of the bed.
Well, lower part of the bed.
You mean
for wine pairing, right?
For the wine. I know it's not that common, but I really like to drink Barbera by itself. If I have to be just for myself, it's really a chimney winter night wine, a cozy night wine. So I drink it mostly by itself because it has this smoothness, this roundness that it really doesn't need specifically some pairing. If I have to pair it with something, I would go with some stewed meat, some juicy stewed meat. The stronger, the better, of course. But I really like it by itself.
Super. Cool.
Okay. Very detailed number of bottles. 3,328 bottles. Is that correct?
Yeah, for this vintage,
more or
yes.
less.
Yeah, let's say 3,000 bottles per year, but it really depends on how it went.
Yeah. And 35 euro is the retail price in Italy.
Yes.
Roughly. Yeah. Good. Very well. Very well. Thank you very much. You're searching distributor. Yeah. Tenuta Tenaria, guys. Probably you meet someone in Italy. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe you're going to
be
meet
there.
Colleagues mostly because I take care mostly of the vineyards and the production part. So there is a higher chance that you see my colleagues. But yeah, in case, see you there.
Cool.
Perfect.
Super. Thank you, Yuri.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you very much.
So we are leaving the Barbera universe and go into the Nebbiolo universe starting with a very iconic winery from 1971. This is Barusso. And we have his wonderful Barolo Per Armando. Barusso is a very famous winery, of course, in the Barolo area. and it's famous for his own style of producing wine. Let's go through the images real quick. This is the winery, very artsy winery, and it's, as you can see, Parusso is situated, as I remember right, in Monforte, which is not written on the label, but I think it is. Hang on. I don't want to say something wrong. Monforte d'Alba, yes, I'm correct. Okay. And Parusso has a very proper winemaking style because they let the grapes not dry, but harvest on a very low, late point, so as ripe as possible. And you can smell it and taste it in the wine. So I don't know, do we have somebody from Parusso here with us tonight? I don't think so. But anyhow,
there is Anna. There's Anna from Parusso.
Okay,
Anna. Yeah, so Anna, please press the buttons.
Mm.
I'm not Anna.
You can wear a wig. Maybe you could be Anna.
You got some quite question. Yeah.
Anna, dove sei? Schiaccia il bottone.
Anna, if it doesn't work, log out and come back. But you should see the red buttons, and you may turn it green.
While Anna is trying to connect, I just want to guide you through the wine, which I think is pretty iconic because, as I told you, this is a proper art of winemaking. You have this wonderful color first of all, but then you have there's Anna Boffa finally. Okay, now there is the microphone, maybe also the video.
Here I am. Sorry.
That's all right. Don't worry.
Yeah,
so I'm going to guide you through the tasting afterwards. Please go first, Anna. Parusso has a very special art of winemaking, and tell us everything we should know about this wonderful winery.
Thank you, Simone, and thank you, Piotr, for the beautiful introduction. I'm Anna. I'm working for Parusso since 2004. I'm not part of the family, but I'm becoming part of family. Yeah, as you see, Parusso is located between Castiglione Falletto and Monforte d'Alba in Bussia area, so in the heart of the Barolo district. And Parusso focuses the main work on Nebbiolo, producing a Langhe Nebbiolo and 4 kinds of Barolo. Among the Barolo range, we find the Barolo per Armando. Okay, as you see on the label, there is written per Armando, and so is a Barolo dedicated to the founder of the company, Armando, which was the father of Marco e Tiziana, the current owner. The classic. This is our classical Barolo, the entry-level Barolo, we can say. It's the vintage we are tasting is 2021, so is a good, beautiful vintage for Barolo, classical vintage. From the climatic point of view, we had enough rain, a good supply of water during 2021, because I remember, for example, in January we had a lot of snow, so this was very, very good for the soil, for a good supply of water. This classical Nebbiolo is made from the blend of the youngest plants of the different crews that Parusso work. So we have the youngest plants of Bussia, Mosconi, and Mariondino. On average about 15-20 years old.
Would you like to tell us about the late harvest or the almost drying of the grapes you do at Parusso? Because I think it's a very own style.
Yeah, there is a particular work on the important grape as the Nebbiolo destined to Barolo, because after the harvest, the grape is not immediately worked and put into the roto maceration tanks, but the grape stay in the basket in a special local in order to rest after the harvest, because this is the cut is a kind of trauma for the bunch. So this basket stay 2-3 days in this special local with temperature, humidity control, in order that the bunch distressed rest and continue to mature. Okay, so at the end, after these 3 days, we have the complete maturation of the bunch. I mean, also the green part, the stems. And this let us to obtain and get from this part the positive quality of the stems. So the sweeter, the riper tannin.
Yeah.
This is the aim. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a kind of, slow wine concept, no? Slow food concept applied to the wine. So
It's a good concept. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And you can also smell it in the wine, because in my opinion, the wines of Parusso are always very they have a proper identity, because you have this minty and eucalyptus note. You smell something like also watermelon. You have this orange. You have this very perfumed nose, but then you have this smooth character also on the palate, and which is of course in the Nebbiolo. So you have tannin, you have acidity, and you have not a heavy body, but you have a medium body. Let's say, yes.
Yeah.
So for all those who don't know about Nebbiolo, Nebbiolo is a very special grape which gives one of the most beautiful wines, I think, all over the world. But it has to be discovered, let's put it this way, because, as I said, high acidity, high tannins, but medium body structure. So the wines can age beautifully. They're compared to the biggest wines of Burgundy, even though sometimes I think the Nebbiolo of this area are better than the Burgundy wines, but never tell this to any of your French friends that I say. But anyhow, Anna, this is a very elegant Barolo entry level. So what is the numbers, Piotr?
Well, there's also a question about decanting in the chat. And the other question, but the numbers, if I can continue, it's 46 euro retail price and 24,000 bottles produced. Yeah. And you're searching for distributor.
Correct, because as you explained, Simon, this could be a good occasion, with this entry level Barolo to approach to the Barolo world. Because the medium body, the soft tannin, the elegant tannin, I mean, not aggressive, so people can taste it and start to understand, the Nebbiolo Barolo world, and maybe having the curiosity to taste a cru, I mean, an higher level Barolo, if we can say that.
What would you pair with your wine, Anna? What would you eat with it?
The Barolo can be matches very well with our typical pasta, traditional pasta of Piedmont. So, for example, ravioli del Plin, tajarin with ragu, so something more savory pasta dishes. With red meat, so the cheek, for example, of the veal, brasato al Barolo, for example. So or ripe cheese, aged cheese, or also just alone if you want to taste alone in good company after your meal. Why not?
Thank you so much.
Regarding the vinification, as I explained before, this is the blend of the youngest plants, but the vinification is the same for all Parusso Barolo. The only one difference that is the classical stay 50% in new oak and 50% in old oak. In small barrels, 24 months, and then the rest in bottle for fining. So we follow the old disciplinary of the Barolo because the minimum is 80 months, but they continue with 24 months, and then the rest in bottle for fining.
And there are also vegetarians asking for food pairing for vegetarians. What do they suggest?
For example, I have in mind a lasagna, but made with vegetables. Can be zucchini, or the lasagna made with zucchini or melanzana.
I was thinking that too, like maybe you can also have on the barbecue, so eggplants with some mint leaves on top, or something smoked pepperoni. It could also very well, if you like smoked pepperoni, it goes pretty good with Nebbiolo too. You need some greasy, you need some fat notes, maybe with some olive oil. Perfect.
Yeah. So
very well.
We have also choices for vegetarians. No problem.
Very well. Thank you very much, Anna. Thank you very much.
Thank you to you. Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Super.
And now this is Borgogno, but there's no one.
This is a very iconic picture, wonderful, next to the village of Barolo. This is Cannubi. There is also the left house, I would say, is also a restaurant. It's called Locanda Cannubi, Locanda in Cannubi. And not only you have a wonderful view in the restaurant, but you can eat wonderfully. But it's not about the restaurant today. It's all about the Cannubi 2021 of Fratelli Borgogno. And I hope there is somebody here. First of all, we can look where it is. This is right in the village of Barolo, so which is also the name giver for this beautiful wine. And this the cru, one of the most famous cru in the last years, I would say. It's Cannubi. So somebody from Fratelli Borgogno with us tonight?
No one from Borgogno. No one. Sorry.
No one. No one. Okay.
No one.
This is a very iconic label. As you can see, Fratelli Borgogno, please pay attention. There is also another winery called Borgogno, which has a black and white label, but it's called just Borgogno without any Fratelli. So this is Fratelli Borgogno. Fratelli in Italian means brothers, Borgogno brothers. So, and this is the Barolo DOCG Cannubi, which is a very important vineyard in the Barolo village. You should know Cannubi, you should have heard about Cannubi, and if you don't, now you do. So this is 100% Nebbiolo, of course, and it's made in a very, let's call it traditional style. It's 25 to 30 days of maceration in Slavonian oak. This would be a very traditional style to do it with spontaneous malolactic fermentation. And after that, we have kind of a funny number, 31 months in big Slavonian oak barrels and then 6 months in the bottle. 2021, as Anna said before, was a good vintage. Actually, it was for us in general in Italy, was a very, very, very good vintage. And in Piedmont, it rained in the springtime, so the grapes, so the vines were able to suck up a lot of water and be healthy throughout the years, because 22 and 23, as we heard before, were very hot years, and 24 last year was very rainy. But we're not talking about the last 3 years, we're talking about this 21 vintage. So it's an excellent vintage, it's an excellent winery, and it's also an excellent crew. And if I may guide you through the tasting, you have a very typical nose. You have this kind of smoky notes, some earthy notes. If you want maybe a little bit of truffle, of black truffle, you know the area is famous for white truffles, but you have some black truffle aromas in the nose. A little bit of tobacco too. And of course raspberries, which is very typical for Nebbiolo. A little bit of oak too. Yes, you can see also in your glass, but also in my glass, this is a ruby red color. It's light bodied, so it's not a dark red, but it's a medium ruby red. It's transparent, which is typical for Nebbiolo. Wow, you have this great acidity and great freshness, medium body. It's very drinkable, and it's a complex wine too. So as you can hear when I'm talking, I'm savoring. My mouth is, I have a lot of savoriness, a lot of salinity in my mouth. So the wine is coming again and again. And it's just a great wine. Absolutely.
Simon, I think we skipped one question about decanting, or I missed it.
We skipped
generally about decanting not very old barrel wines.
Well, I think decanting could help with young Nebbiolo. To be honest, if somebody is approaching the Nebbiolo grape, as I said, it is probably not the most, but one of the most tannic and acidic grape varieties we have in Italy. So this can be kind of a punch in your face when you are approaching it. So what you could do with young Nebbiolo, with young Barbaresco, with young Barolo, is decanting it, but better not decanting, but aerating it. So because there is no sedimentation, of course, so you don't have to decant it, but you have to aerate it. So please take the bottle and your decanter or your aerator. You probably would need something like this, with a big belly. So you just take the bottle and skip it very fast into the aerator so that it opens up and the tannins get a little bit smoother. So this, in my opinion, could absolutely help. Also use big glasses, as I do. That helps too, because Nebbiolo needs big glasses, elegant. I would say elegant glasses, but that's not correct. They would need big glasses in order to get elegantly in your mouth when you drink it. So this would be something I would really consider doing it when I'm approaching myself to Nebbiolo. There's some other questions. Barolo DCG must be aged minimum 38 months. Skip the question. Because here we have 37, okay. We have at least 4 years. You can release Barolo on the market after 3 years. So there would be 4 years, sorry. It would be 48 months, not 38. So this is what they do minimum with the bottle, and then release it on the market. So that doesn't mean that it's released on the market after the aging, but they let that minimum is what they leave it for aging. So right now you are allowed to sell the 21 Barolo here in 25 after 4 years. And for example, if we would have a Barbaresco, which is also a great Nebbiolo wine from that area, you are allowed to put it on the market after 3 years, so after 36 months of aging. Yola writes, elegant wine, very Horeca friendly. That's what I agree to. And Alessandro Locatelli has to leave us, unfortunately. Thank you for the tasting, it was interesting. Thank you, Alessandro, so much for being with us. So even Piotr, you're the man of the numbers, because here we have a very small number of production. Would you help me out, please?
Oh yeah, that's this is 17,000 bottles and 52 euro. per bottle, the average price. So it's well, 17,000.
Okay, pretty cool.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and
I'm not sure if Alessandro is still with us, because he would be the next one. Alessandro, are you with us or are you away?
living. If you are with us, no, he left, unfortunately.
Okay. So we move on to the next winery, which is, as you can see here beautifully, it's Rocche Costamagna, and it's a very old winery from 1841. They're situated in the beautiful village of La Morra, which is one of the 9 municipalities where you are able or allowed to produce Barolo. We're actually in the beautiful Langhe region, which is also part of the UNESCO World Heritage. So if you have never been in the Langhe, you should absolutely go there, but not only in the Langhe, whole Piedmont is very beautiful. And we can move on the map to show our friends in Poland where this is. This is still between, it's in the nearby Barolo. It's La Morra, of course, the village. It's the highest village of the Langhe. It's situated over 500 meters, but just a village, not necessarily every vineyard. So we are having the Barolo Rocche dell'Annunziata, this wine. We can go on to the next slide. Rocche dell'Annunziata is one of the best and most well-known cru sites in La Morra. We have some famous producers as Elio Altare, but also Roberto Verzio and Rocche Costamagna producing it. This is the year 2020. And as you can see, not too many informations, because 100% Nebbiolo, 3 weeks of maceration, very classical, 18 months in oak barrels. Beautiful nose. I have some raspberries, I have tobacco. I have also red peach, so I have a red fruit. I would also have some red apple, but not oxidized red apple, but fresh red apple. I would also have some salty notes in the nose. Very savory, good structure. Like you see, 20 was, of course, it was a stupid year for the humanity, as it was the COVID year, but it was a warm vintage, a very rich vintage, and actually in the Barolo area, a very balanced vintage. So you have kind of a rich wine here. You have a lot of structure on the mouth, but it's not a heavy structured wine. So you have always a medium structured wine, but a very medium structured wine. Let's put it this way. You have good tannin structure, you have good acidity, and you have a lot of pressure on the palate, which is actually very typical for the Rocca dell'Annunziata. So La Morra, you may know that every village of these 9 villages has its proper expression of Barolo. La Morra is somewhere in between of the strongness of the Barolo, but in La Morra, the cru sites are very different, and not everyone is equal to the other. But Rocche dell'Annunziata is a very deep, very rich, very structured wine. Let's put it this way. So the wines that come out of Rocche dell'Annunziata are very structured wines. Piotr, tell me everything, or tell us everything about the numbers.
Well, there is a comment, but I think you answered already to this comment about the cru, the single vineyard.
Yes.
And the numbers. Well, roughly this is around 20,000 bottles, because they have very detailed numbers, but roughly around 20,000, and 49 euro per bottle, the retail price in Italy. And yeah, they want to conquer the market here in Poland, so they are looking for a distributor, a big one, if they can find someone. Yeah.
Rafael is writing perfection, great balance, although time will serve it well. I agree. Please note that Barolo, or let's put it this way, the Nebbiolo grape, especially Barolo wines, can age very long, 15, 20, 25 years, doesn't matter. They can age very long. But why wait so long if they are good also now? So I would always buy myself at least one cask of wine. So I can drink some now, some in 5 years, some in 10, some in 15, some in 20, some in 25. I can always drink.
50. Yeah.
Of course, I'm a youngster, Piotr. I have time.
Yeah, you're a youngster. You're a youngster. That's why you get the questions like whether you're married or not. From women.
Be quick,
Women.
ladies. Be quick. We have
you're Kevin like now because you're all alone till the end. No one from two remaining wineries.
It doesn't matter. I will represent them as good as possible. We go on to the next winery, but we are not moving away from the village because we stay in La Morra. This is Dosio Winery, which you can see here is actually a very beautiful winery. Not only a winery, but also a cascina where you can sleep and chill in the pool and have a good tasting and a degustation. So, of course, if you are going to the Lange, you will find a lot of possibilities to sleep and eat. Why not stay in a winery as, for example, it could be Dosio. Dosio, here in the picture, you can see it again on the map. We are still in the village of La Morra. But what we are changing is the cru. So the cru before was Rocche dell'Annunziata, and now we have Fossati. Okay, you can switch on to the next slide, please. So you have it here also in the naming of the label. It's Barolo DOCG Fossati 2020. Fossati is also a very structured vineyard, a very heavy vineyard. So the wines that comes out from them. So I mean, it's a vineyard with heavy soil. So please understand what I'm saying. So the wines that come out from this vineyard represent the structure. So we have here a very long maceration, as you can see, almost 2 months, and we have spontaneous malolactic fermentations. But 60 days is one of the longest that I know in this area. After that, we have the aging more, of course, than 18 months in oak barrels, and you are allowed to release it on the market after 4 years. So this is the Barolo Fossati 2020. We have dark fruit, leather notes, some earthy notes, but also some dried rose petals. I have some floral components in this wine as well. Rich wine, dark fruit also on the palate. Well, it's salty, it's savory. You can feel it. You have this sapidity in your mouth. Wow. You can see how these two wines changes. First, we have the Rocche dell'Annunziata, red fruit, but very strong and powerful. This here is darker fruit, also powerful, but a little bit smoother, a little bit more elegant, okay? So, but still deep, ongoing, always coming back on the palate, very long. This is why I love Barolo. Yes, excellent wine. Love it. Thank you so much, Eva, for the compliments. Excuse me, Yola, that you love our maps. Thank you so much. I will say it also to who helps me preparing this map. Thank you for the maps. And Eva says this one opens up so beautifully. Absolutely, I agree.
They're not very talkative in Barolo. You know, they give just minimum information, but well, that's
yeah.
perfect.
You know, Barolo, they are used to have a good reputation. So the people say, hey, we have a good reputation. We produce one of the best wines in the world. If you want to know something, you have to ask us. Otherwise, we're going to keep our secrets for us.
Okay, 53 euro and 3,300 bottles.
That's not much.
Searching a distributor, not that much, yeah. Very
But
well.
very, good,
And
very good wine, I have to say. As everyone.
and the last one.
So the last one is a very special wine, also because this is made from Giuseppe Caviola, Beppe Caviola, his nickname. He's one of the most famous winemakers in Italy because he's not only making wine from himself, but actually got famous in being a winemaker consultant for a lot of wineries in Italy from north to south. Here we are drinking his Barolo Sotto Castello di Novello. So Caviola actually is situated outside of the Barolo production area, which is still very beautiful, as you can see here. Excuse me, this cru is inside the Barolo area, my fault, sorry. But the winery, as you can see here, is situated more southern under Benevagliero and under Barolo, and it's more next to Mondovì, for example, than to the other production sites where you are allowed to produce Barolo. But Beppe found some vineyards also in the Barolo area. This is his Sotto Castello di Novello. So we are in Novello. This is one of the other municipalities where you can produce Barolo, of course. It's a calcareous soil and it's on 420 meters of altitude. Excuse me quickly. I think I have to sneeze. Okay, I don't have to sneeze. Sorry, it's all live. Vinification between 15 and 30 days of maceration, 15 to 20 days of concrete tanks. And then the aging is in 24 months of large barrels and 12 months of concrete tanks. As you can see, this is somebody who is a winemaker who wrote this data sheet. So we have the Barolo Sotto Castello di Novello, still vintage 2020. We're going away from La Morra, we're going into another village, is Novello. So lighter soils. It's calcareous clay, so there is a structure in it, but not as much maybe as in La Morra. We're going to taste it. Beautiful expression on the nose. We have raspberries, we have blood orange, we have roses. We have also something, please don't get me wrong, but it's a compliment actually, and it's something you find very often in Barolo wines. It's anchovies. You have at least a savory, a salty hint like anchovies, like when you have these little fishies and you eat it from the as a snack. You have this anchovy smell, so it's something salty, something irony maybe. If you remember when you were a kid and you were playing outside and you were licking some pieces of iron which your mother said you shouldn't do, but you still did it. Yes, that is the smell of iron you have in the glass. You can tell there is a winemaker consultant working here. Very elegant wine, very savory. A lot of citrus aroma on the palate. Beautiful wine, extremely elegant. Wow, you could drink probably the whole bottle alone without any food pairing, probably. It's not so deep as the two Barolos we had before from La Morra. Also not the one from Canubi or from Monforte. This is a very light Barolo, a very elegant Barolo. And it's, I think, a wonderful conclusion of our red jewels of Piedmont. So, Piotr, the man of the numbers, tell us everything.
Yeah, 60 euro, 5,000. So this is pretty easy, 60, 5,000, 5,000, 60, right?
Yeah.
Well, guys, searching distributor, right? Some comments, and Simon, great tasting, thank you much, and quite a speedy one, right? It's 1 hour and 15 minutes, 10 wines.
It's okay. I think usually
that's fine.
I think we had a 1.5 hours for 12 wines, so
Yeah.
What we're here for questions. If somebody has questions, I'm here, happy to answer them.
Yeah. What? Yeah. More often. Yeah.
Now I have to sneeze. Sorry.
Bless you. Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm here to support. Yeah.
Thank you, Yola, so much. And somebody from the Puro Hotel in Poznan writes, we should have more time for all that complex wines. Yes, indeed. I agree.
Yes. Very well, guys. Thank you very much, Simon. Thank you, and yeah, to the next one.
Absolutely. Thank you to everyone. If you need some information, please write Piotr. He will write me if you need some hints or some advice. Thank you so much for being with us. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye, Simon. Bye-bye, guys.
Bye,
Thank you. Bye-bye. Ciao.